It's 2025 and prices are high. Today I'm going to be answering the question that so many people moving to Canada ask. Can you live off minimum wage in Canada? I mean pay for rent, eat, and own a phone, and still have some money left over afterwards. First, let's talk about grocery. I set a $50 budget. Let's see how far I can stretch. Let's go grocery shopping. I try to shop for grocery once per week, and I usually buy grocery in bulk. So I would buy bulk rice, bulk flour, anything that I can buy in bulk, I'll buy them in bulk. I also look for like discounts, clearance rack, that's where you'll see me. There are different apps that you can find sales. I have a Super C app, and then for Walmart it's usually in the newspaper. They usually send it through mail. I experience this both in PI and here in Montreal, so check your mail and see if it's there. So in the newspaper you are going to see all the supermarkets that are in your area and what the sales are for that specific week. The newspapers comes out weekly, and the total that I usually spend on grocery is $200 to $300 per month, so approximately $50 for just me. So one individual would be like $50 per week, and I do not eat out, so it's just the grocery alone that I eat. So I do shop smart, and I'm going to take you along with me right now. Close. So you see for ground beef, you see this kind of price. I do not eat ground beef. I would not pay 20 for this much ground beef. I would buy things that are way cheaper. Let's go look at some cheaper things. Get some phone instead. And buy this instead here, $14 versus ground beef where yeah, look man, $22. We have some cheaper ground beef. How much for this? This is like a smaller portion. $8. So we have some older foliage so now. Alright, $17. $17 for the older foil. This kind of looks sketchy, you know, some wouldn't buy this. You can get sausage over this side. Alright, so you see the wiener, some chicken wiener. We'll grab two because see, $2.67 and it's two made in Canada, even better. First thing in the cart. 750 milliliter, and then this one 1 liter for the same price. So we are going to choose this one. So you see, if you're making minimum wage and you see a vacuum and you see $179, you don't buy it. You go and buy a broom. Over this side, they have some microwaves. Looks good, right? I see some $114.89. If you're making minimum wage and you don't have a microwave and you need to buy one, you do not buy it. You heat your food on the stove. So I went to Walmart and I went to Lintermarché, and the total that I paid for this week's grocery is $22.48, and I spent $16.09. This got me like 2 chickens, and this is just for this week what I needed. This in total is like $38, so I'm within my $50 budget. So I do ultimately spend about $200 per month on grocery, but sometimes it goes up to like $300. So let's break this down. On minimum wage, you are making $40 per hour as a full-time individual. However, what you have to calculate is 37.5 hours because that is the amount of hours that is recorded for payment. Before taxes, this is $2,415, And then after taxes, it is $1,714.65, depending on the province and the different deductions based on province that you are located in. There are also ways to reduce your taxes, because I'm sure you can notice that you were initially making $2,400. Now you are making $1,700. So there are ways to reduce your taxes. You can own your own business, whether part-time or full-time. You can go back to school. This is a way you can reduce your taxes. And you can also do RRSP contributions to reduce your taxes. I did a video where I broke down details on how to reduce your taxes. I'm going to link that video right here in the cards and down description box below, so that you can look at a video that breaks down how you can reduce your taxes if you are living in Canada and you have been finding it very difficult because your taxes has been extremely stressful. So what are the expenses that you would have as someone living on minimum wage? So first of all, I highly recommend that if you're living on minimum wage, always go for a smaller apartment. The smallest apartment you can possibly have. I know that you like privacy, so if you want to live in your own apartment, go towards the smaller apartments, which are usually called studio apartments. So with a studio apartment, I'm going to quote the figure here in Montreal. It's $900 per month. And then for groceries per month, you're looking at $300. This does not include being able to eat out. And then for gas, it's $70 per month if you have like a small car. Then for a phone plan, you're looking at about $60. Internet, $30. Electricity, $30. Usually heat is covered under this $900 rent that I'm talking about. Netflix, $9. So you even have some Netflix while on minimum wage. You have some savings, $100. Car insurance, $90. Car maintenance, $41. And this is like the breakdown of how you can live off minimum wage in Canada and actually live a good enough life. So in total, the income that we spoke about is $1,714.65. You minus the total expenses that I just mentioned, which everything came to $1,630. And then what you would have left after all of that is $84.65. So ultimately you would have $184.65 for savings, but you have mandatory saving above, which was your $100, and then you can start to take this $84 and put it towards saving for something else. Maybe you want to put towards $25 per month to save towards your child's education, and there are other things that you want to save towards. This can be that money, and money does add up. Right? That's something very important. If you have that $84 and you save it, you don't spend it, it can work out to be a large sum of money. Comment down below and let me know if you feel as though you would be able to live off minimum wage in Canada. I'm curious to see what you say, so definitely leave a comment down below. And also you can go ahead and thumbs up the video as well if you're getting value from this video. So I mentioned that rent would be $900 in this particular budget. But let's say you live in somewhere like Toronto. What would your rent look like? Your rent would be $2,400 if you live by yourself. But then if you find like a studio apartment, it can be about $2,000, which is still a lot of money. So it is very important to watch your rent and find a way to ensure that your rent goes down. It is very important when you are choosing housing to think about getting roommates and things like that. Commuting daily isn't free unless you live within walking distance. So getting to and from work with public transportation is about $100 in Montreal per month. And then if you are driving, then it's about $70 for a regular sedan vehicle. When it comes to entertainment, it is very important to choose things that are free of cost so that you're not spending large sums of money. Entertainment can quickly add up. For example, if you choose to go to restaurants, eat out with friends, try to keep up with friends. Very important if you're trying to keep up with friends. That can easily increase your budget amount. So it's important to keep entertainment at a minimum cost. and always maximize on anything that is free. Walk to the park, walk in nature, walk to the seaside. That's one thing that you can do for free. So can you live off minimum wage in Canada in 2025? The answer is yes, you can, but would you have an amazing life? It just depends on you. Some of the things that you can do when you're living off of minimum wage and you want to survive in Canada is to ensure that you increase your hours. Something that you can do is to get part-time jobs. And then another thing that you should always prioritize is always prioritize saving. Always ensure that you are saving money and have money in the bank. What that will do is to ensure that you do not go broke if there is an emergency. One emergency and you can immediately end up in debt. If you get sick, if you ever lose your job, you would instantly be in debt. So this is why savings is very, very important. And ensure that you place your saving in an high interest savings account. Don't just place it in your checking account and it's there not earning any interest. Place it in a high interest savings account. You can always go to your bank and ask them about a high interest saving account. I definitely suggest that you place your money in a high interest saving account. Don't put it into cryptocurrency and then you lose all the little money that you save. So the two main things that most people do when they're living on minimum wage is that number one, they have roommates. The biggest expense you are going to have is rent, which is what I said earlier. And what you do is to ensure that you get a roommate or you live into a smaller apartment. Always try to downgrade your apartment if you can, so that you can reduce your rent. Like saving $100, $200, $300 is very, very significant when you're trying to save because that money adds up. The second thing is side hustles. You can always look for side hustles or you can always just look for a part-time job. These are ways that you can save money, earn extra money and ensure that you actually save it because you want to have emergency fund. It is very, very important when you're living on minimum wage. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to the channel and please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.